And the ladies and gentlemen in the back of the room, welcome! Not you, them! I take this off because Bob Howard is the president of the Congressional Medal of Honor Society, and he represents all of you. I take this medal off. It's not mine, it belongs to my men. And what I'm going to say today perhaps violates what the society has, that we're not supposed to talk about politics. When Jan Scruggs built that memorial for us, when we threw the parades for us, we took a vow that never again would this nation send young men and women into war without the committing of the nation first, without a commitment for the nation to bear the costs of caring for the warriors when they came home and for the families of those who did not return. That was our vow, but unfortunately we have not lived up to it. We stand here today with young Americans coming back from a war, suffering from PTSD, a disease, a malady we discovered. A malady that says for every month you serve in combat, you need 3 months out of combat to return to normal. A malady that has an incestuous manifestation of violence in theater, then violence out of theater, and then violence to one at home. And we're starting to see the earmarks of that Vietnam malady. And we hear through the halls of Congress and speeches across this land the word Vietnam being spoken as if it's some night monster that's going to come steal the children, rather than a war fought by young Americans with compassion, with integrity, with dignity, and with grace. We stand here today with behind us the hall that holds the public employees of us, the American stockholders. But where are they today? I don't see any of them standing here shaking hands with you, thanking you for your service. They're too busy. We need to stand up. We need to stop being lapdogs for our public employees and return to being watchdogs for the veterans we have an obligation to serve. And to that marvelous black wall with precious names, it's not just a wall to honor those that are on it for what they were. It's a wall to remind each and every one of us what each of them might have been. I go down to that wall to remind myself of the cost of decisions to wage war without objectives. I go to that wall to remind myself that had I done my job better, the 10 men on that wall that served with me would be living today, grandfathers, fathers, who have served this country and made contributions that might have lived up to that saying to be all that they could have been had it not been for my failings. I go to that wall to remember that this malady of PTSD is not something to be afraid of. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of. It is a scar we wear. It's a mark of service. And we have to reach out to these young veterans that are coming home and let them know that they too have a scar to be proud of, a scar not to hide from, but a scar to recognize and seek help for. Because this country, this time, because of us, will in fact honor the debt we have to these young men and women wearing the uniform of the United States of America, serving in a land they could not have found on a map before they went, whose language they do not speak and whose culture they do not understand. And they're there because we asked them to go. And therefore, we, the Vietnam veterans of America, have an obligation to make sure that this country, this time, honors its debt, stands foursquare with the young men and women coming home and their families, and does not let the government turn its back as it did once before. Yeah. 40 years ago, last week, I got on a plane as a young captain, leading Delta Company 3rd of the 187th, 101st Airborne, to Vietnam. A year later, I got on a plane with guys, hair long, dusty boots, no medals, baggy clothes. And I said, that's our guys. That's our ladies, that's our women, that's our friends. But when we got back to San Francisco and they announced, all right, we're about to land at Travis, I saw the hair being tucked back under the hats. I saw the medals being put on the chests. The boots were wiped to have a soft sheen. The shirts were tucked back into the trousers. We were coming home, having done well. And as the doors opened on the plane, through the night air, a voice crackled on the loudspeaker. All right, knock it off. Officers on the left, enlisted on the right, will get you out of here as soon as possible. Not one welcome home. Not one thank you. Not one well done. Except for the thank you, the welcome home, and the well done we said to each other. So today as we leave here, may we leave dedicated to the proposition that we will live up to our vow, that we will be worthy of the sacrifice of the men and women on the wall we honor. And may we live up to that one thing that every gathering that we go to ends. May God bless the United States of America. Let us leave and say, may we be worthy of God's blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul Bucha.